Andor is the newest show on Disney Plus. It just wrapped up a couple weeks ago. I wasn't necessarily pumped to watch this show, but the trailers did look excellent. I just wasn't completely in love with the fact that we're going to get a show about that side character in Rogue One that I didn't really care for that much. But now that we've gotten the show, I take back everything I said because this is some of the best, if not the best, Disney Plus content that we've got. This show was absolutely incredible from the first episode to the last episode. There's not one bad episode. Maybe there's one where I was a tad bored. Besides that, this was a riveting show, and mostly just it's because of how well it was written, how well it was crafted. It did not feel like a studio mandated show where it feels like it has to hit mandated blocks in each episode to formulate a show that a general audience would like. And that's really just me talking about Boba Fett and Obi-Wan, because Boba Fett, I had no expectations for and I didn't care for it. And Obi-Wan, I was extremely disappointed because I thought it looked really good from the trailers. And then I got a watered-down Disney Plus show with Obi-Wan that was just kind of boring, and I didn't really like it. I barely remember the show. Andor does not care. Andor pulled up to the Disney Plus event and said, nope, I'm going to be the best of the best. And I'm going to be completely honest. I watch Star Wars. I like Star Wars. I'll see each one of the things, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge Star Wars fan. This is probably my favorite thing I've gotten from Star Wars. I'm just going to be completely honest because it's nothing like Star Wars, and that's why I loved it so much. I feel like this is really the show for people that have never loved Star Wars. It just feels like it's more like Blade Runner than Star Wars, at least to me. Of course, there's the Star Wars things, like you're gonna have the droids and maybe like the blasters and the Empire and the Rebellion, but it feels like a whole different vibe brought to the universe, which I really appreciated. And this show made it feel like Star Wars. We go from planet to planet. We have different arcs on different planets. We have a variety of production design. How did the show afford to do that with about double the episodes and double the runtime with probably the same budget and look 1,000 times better? That's a miracle within itself. Thank you, Tony Gilroy, because he's the one who made this show happen. The show looks beautiful from beginning to end. It's shot really well. It feels like a cinematographer showed up and did what they were supposed to do instead of just setting up basic shots in front of a green screen. Okay, we're good. This just really unlocked the cinephile of Disney Plus. If Disney Plus can be this, do this, please. This is Disney. This is the biggest studio in the world, and there's no excuses for us to be getting shows like Obi-Wan and Boba Fett versus when we can't be getting this. Because there's no excuses at this point. If we're getting a show like this and we have Obi-Wan and Boba Fett over there just making fools of themselves, and then we have Andor, the golden child, you just can't compare the shows, and they probably had the same budget, which is just kind of makes it funny to me. Another thing that I love about this show is the script. This is a script that doesn't cater to make an audience enjoy it. It feels like an actual piece of work, and that's not meant to say that it's boring or anything. It's just you have to invest yourself. You have to listen. You have to pay attention. It's not pew 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 every episode. And when we do get those episodes, it's so much more worth it because we had the tension. We had the build up. The show was masterful with its tension building. Even the Marvel shows are guilty of this. Sometimes it feels like here's the action sequence of the episode so we don't lose our viewers. This show said, forget the viewers. This is going to be a piece of art instead of a mandated show to general audience enjoy. And yes, that will affect the viewership of the show, and it has affected the viewership of the show. And I say, forget the viewership, only cater to me because this is what I like. I'm being sarcastic. The cinematography of the show is really, really strong. There's a lot of beautiful shots, particularly in the prison episodes. There are four sets of 3-episode arcs. And each one of them, there's not a bad 3-episode arc. Of course, my favorite of them is the prison episodes, and those are the episodes that include Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis is just excellent in this show. He probably gave my favorite performance of the whole show. You can tell that he was in it. He was so invested, and I was just so happy to see him in Star Wars for a second time because he also played Snoke. Is it connected? I don't know. Do I care? Not really. The way those episodes build up the tension and the way that they pay off is some of the most satisfying content I've seen this year. If this show were a movie, this would be in the top 5 of this year. easily. The craft there is just, it's immaculate. The production design looks amazing. It's everything you want out of Star Wars. It's everything I wanted out of Star Wars with the last couple years. You know, we have the Rise of Skywalker universe trotting adventure, but it's sloppy with its execution. The show knew what it was doing. It took its time. All the acting is great across the board. I do not remember the actors' names, nor some of the characters' names, and that's not because the show was forgettable with its characters. I am just horrible with names. It's as simple as that. Of course, the guy that played Andor, I believe his first name is Diego. He was great. There's a lot of subtlety and nuance to his performance, so a lot of people might see him as one note, but there's a lot there. And it's just, you have to see behind his mask, and there's really quite a bit there. There is a villainous character to this show, and she is a very threatening and scary antagonist. She is, of course, part of the Empire, and she's just so menacing. Every scene that she's in, particularly when she's interrogating one character, you just feel so much fear whenever she shows up on screen. Andor's mother is also in the show, not his biological mother, but almost like the girl that took him in when he was young. She was really, really good in the show. She was also in Harry Potter. I believe she played Harry Potter's aunt. She was excellent in the show. She gives one long monologue in the last episode, and it was really touching. This show leans into the rebellion versus the Empire. It leans heavily into the symbolism of that, what it means to them, what it means to modern day. It's probably some of the best and most realized Star Wars has ever used this symbolic connection with the Empire and the rebellion. It really just means a lot, and clearly the writers felt that connection too, and they did a really good job servicing that. Another really good bunch of episodes were the heist episodes. That is without a doubt the group of episodes that culminated to the best episode of the show. The 6th episode of the show, episode 6, is just incredible. If episode 6 were counted as a movie, this would be top 3 of 2022. It's the best looking episode of the show. It's the most action packed of the show, because you have the other episodes to back that up. It's almost like the third act of Top Gun Maverick to me. Just Star Wars. If you've seen the show, you know exactly what I mean. Overall, I loved Andor. It's some of the best, probably my favorite Star Wars content. But like I said, I've never been the biggest fan of Star Wars anyway. But I am going to give this a really high score of a 9.2 out of 10. This is how you do a TV show, Disney Plus. Look at this, make this your blueprint, and continue from here. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, and stuff like that, and adios.